Conversations is what it needs.
Structured conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do miss some of our time on Clubhouse because there was a lot of that structured conversation. What do you think made the Clubhouse community that we were part of? Remember, we constantly saw each other in rooms. What made it kind of like slow down and break into other places?
I think one, that the world started opening up, so people
Right,
turned up less.
right.
There was a point where people were lonely, they were at home, maybe they were in their apartment in New York and they realized, wait, my apartment's a lot smaller than I thought it was. And these are my life choices. But then you open up Clubhouse, now you're connected with all the souls in the world,
Yeah,
at a point where you weren't connected to anybody, even the people you wanted to be with.
yeah.
So it did people a lot of good. But then I guess, um, one, it opened up to the world, so that diluted the magic a little bit because
Hmm.
it was a private thing and it was invite only, and I really
Right, at
liked that.
some point
I
it
liked
did
that
get
because,
open up. Yeah.
yes, as they opened it
Mm.
up more and more, I think that the magic was diluted, and now all of a sudden you've got people in that weren't a part of the culture, and the culture didn't have a chance to spread and grow fast enough, and so
Ah,
as a result, it, shrivels down, and
yes.
yeah, and yeah, and for people like me, I was trying to use Clubhouse to actually create physical change,
Yeah.
but most people weren't ready for that. They were there because they were just wanted to pass time. But I really love and appreciate my time. I don't want it to pass. I'm not
Yeah.
here to like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, or some people, that's true. One is pastime. Another group of people I noticed they're to network, right? And that's another also thing. Like, I think we already met a lot of people in specifically our conscious community to understand who we vibe with and want to keep, creating with, whether on land or in digital, like we're sharing now. I mean, our specific community is not huge, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you look at, like, I've been deleting things from Facebook and I was just looking at how, like some posts of, our mutual friends and, 200, 250 mutual friends, it's that kind of circle. It's not a big circle specifically. Maybe mostly, speaker like English speakers. This is what really unites us. Yeah, like for example, here in Russia right now in Moscow, there are initiatives, but they speak a different language. Physically, literally speak a different language, but also spiritually they speak a different language even from me, and I'm kind of trying to integrate in these communities, and I'm seen as an alien, and I'm not really quite accepted in because I'm so different. Not because I'm hippie, because they're also in that world and spiritual, but because of my language and my ways of being is very different. So women even tell me, go away. I've never heard anything like that. Like, women are like, go away, you don't belong here, just don't go away. And men are really curious because they're obviously like, wow, there's like this new woman type, persona. Smaller lips, looks like, I don't know, different. Like, all Russians look kind of the same, and they are like excited to meet me and to understand what's happening. What's this person? Very curious, asking questions all the time. Women are intimidated, and men are also very masculine. So being a woman in my country is very um it's almost like yeah, it's like a certain card, when you're either a bit like, sorry, but you're either a prostitute or a very unbalanced, masculine type woman to be able to hold that balance to the very masculine man. So it's been extremely hard for me to integrate in this society. And I've been kind of developing my relationship with people who are running the new fields of political change, because we need that. And people are looking back into the Soviet Union, and they're looking at what's been happening there, what are the good things that we can take from there. but the branding of it, it's still kind of like red colors and still like putting the attributics. I'm even like wearing the scarf this way. I'm like already like kind of like continuing the vibe. I don't know if it's the right way, like, to kind of look back so much, to base our reality on the backstory, as opposed to just kind of like breathe out and see what else is possible. What are the future types of organizations? Not a lot of people speaking crypto, and those that are speaking crypto in the Russian speaking community are already all over the world, and like, like not quite on the land, on the ground. So I'm just really scared, because this is such a big, BRIC countries generally, the India, the Russia, the Brazil, and China. We're all so separate. What if we big countries unite and find the common language? Find that spiritual ground. But it's almost like, I don't know who would be the right, what would be the right words to put us together? What would be the right ideology? Because it can't be socialism, obviously, but it doesn't need to be spirituality, because it's not quite everything, because it has to be social structures as well. And I'm thinking deeply on these three topics: education, trade, right? Exchange. And third one is fashion, but it's like a wild card. I'm talking fashion, but it's actually whatever fashion is to you right now. It can be music, it can be health, it can be food, regeneration. It's like, what is fashion? It's always changing. So I'm looking at that and kind of bring it into like the balanced culture narrative, and start weaving stories that are on that frequency. Just been collecting data that has to do with like all these topics, weaving it and like creating a database. But spreading my voice is so hard, because I've been shadow banned and canceled a lot. A lot of people stopped talking to me because of my deep truth expression. I'm balancing myself and trying to ground myself and not be always like putting my voice out there too harshly, and it really helps to tame myself down. But I'm so passionate and I can't just hold back. So thanks for listening.
Okay. Wow. What are you doing there? Why do you have to be there?
Oh, wow. Good question.
Okay. Well,
Really.
when you said earlier, like you used the word we, like what can we do to bring all of these people together? How can we come together? But I think that the word we is too grand. I think it needs to
True.
be split up into micro we's.
True.
But I do agree that, even when it comes to fashion, there's no unified fashion,
No,
right?
no,
It's
no.
always, there are so many different things out there.
And there's
Um,
so many wars happening between these companies too. Fashion is very, very like ego driven and separated
yeah. So
still.
yeah, within that we, if there's a way to turn it into lots of different we's, but all those we's are somehow connected with the same thread,
Mm.
then there's an opportunity. But we have to
Mm-hmm.
think of just one of those micro we's at once. Just to
Right.
get things right. Because if we think too big into the big we, it's too big a task
It's too
to
big.
yeah, you start off small and then scale, right? And
Yeah.
so, what is that little we that it all begins with?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I just don't think we have enough time.
Yeah. Well, there could be if we start with just a small we.
Mm.
Like how do we like who is it in Russia that's making clothes with their hands and doing it all right and somehow have applied a modern enough twist to it, and got the price right and made sure that there's enough for X amount of people and is also teaching people how to do this and making them happy and smile while they do it so that it's kind of growing and moving and being passed on, because
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that I think we really need, just
Mm-hmm.
those little things, and then to scale them up.
Yeah.
You said something else earlier. I'll come back to that in a minute when I
Yeah,
remember.
and but you did ask me why am I here? I'm here to come back to my roots. Remember, I haven't been living here for like 14 years, and I left here when I was 16, 17. So I I'm here to learn to speak the Russian language in a grown-up way, because I kind of speak like 16-year-old in a way. So I'm listening to Putin a lot these days just to understand this person, to understand why the whole world is right now pushing him on the war that he is not planning to do. What he's doing is literally like, flexing, just to show that, if you keep pushing, the nuclear power is here. And I guess I'm sitting here and just learning his way of thinking, and also other Russian, not influencers, but like spokespeople, I guess, of this country. I'm understanding it's really an oligarchy, so the wealthiest people rule it. So still the money very much, but it wasn't like this when I was born in 1991. I was born in Soviet Union. It wasn't it wasn't bad. It was just like we thought that we needed to stop developing that way. And for example, China didn't stop developing that way, and now it's a technocratic society. We kind of like shifted out of the Soviet Union and now started to be like this like oligarchy with like some parts of the capitalist system, some parts of the dictatorship, but we quite don't have like the identity. And I guess I'm here because I'm also reflecting that I don't quite understand my identity yet, and I don't understand what am I supposed to bring. The biggest call that I have is keep connecting with the spirit and to the land. I have bought a few of these like shamanic drums, and just like keep playing, keep chanting, keep doing this
They
kind
made
of work.
Asia or somewhere else?
What?
Where are those drums from?
Though, so these specifically, I bought like three at this fair, from uh, like right up of Moscow to the north, right at the
Oh,
tundra. Yeah, so it's like very north side of the western Russia, so the European side of Russia. So it's not Siberia, but it's the north. And so it's closest to my roots of my grandmas and grandparents, specifically from my mom's side. And I'm also Arabic Greek from my dad's side, so I've been studying that as well.
that's beautiful.
Mm.
I
Thank you.
love
That's why
that.
I'm not quite looking like an average Russian, like with my
Yeah,
look. And what's been most grounding for me is to like literally meditate half of the days, because it's dark and snowy in here. So it's like the winter time. It's almost like being in the cocoon and learning to
wow.
live in this time without sun. Remembering a lot about the ancient civilizations of the well, not only Atlantis and Lemuria, but the Hyperborea, that is apparently a civilization that lived specifically on the North Pole. Um, so that knowledge is coming back to me. So I'm really guided to keep channeling the ETs and to keep, putting it out into the masses as much as I can for those people who are ready to hear it. And there are people who are ready to hear it. And I think it will actually like make some switches and do some reprogramming for us. You know, it's just I don't think that we, right, that we may be that micro community of people who also channel, so we can first agree within what we're being channeled, and then how to deliver it to the humanity, because those are
Thank,
guidance.
thank you for being there. I know it's not easy to
It's hard.
integrate
Thank you.
that place, but they need you and you need them. It's like it's one thing to run away to the middle of the jungle and go to paradise places.
Dance.
Another to like share your soul, your energy with the people who truly need it. Like the world's not going to change if we just run off into our own little bubbles and just be
Yeah,
there.
you
It's going to
know.
change.
Yeah,
We're
you know
able to
how it is. Yeah.
people that aren't a part of our bubble and brush off on them and teach them new ways and learn what their real woes are and
Yeah.
understand, you know? when that's when the world really comes together.
Yeah.
And I think you highlighted on a few things when you spoke of, people are really looking into the past, but the past is can come in various strengths.
Mm.
You can go like in Mexico. Sometimes when they look at the past, they think of cultures that are so new. They're not going truly into the past. They're going into their Spanish speaking past, and
Mm.
that's what they call history now. But there were times where the Mexicans didn't speak Spanish. They spoke their original dialects, but very few people, when they
Yeah.
think the past, think about that. And so it's really
Right.
important that when we talk about the past, that we're able to go really far back sometimes, to the things that really do serve us. Like, what were the successful things from so long ago? But a lot of that information is lost because of wars and
Yeah.
crazy stuff and the burning of knowledge and books and the destruction of beautiful architecture and magical important places, for a lot of cultures around the world. But yeah, I wish that when we talk about the past, that people remember that there was more than their recently conquered languages and their new traditions, which might only be hundreds of years old,
Yeah.
but there was a past. And I wish we could highlight more of that past and really showcase it more.
Truly, yes. And since like the US is going through this Pluto return time, which is very interesting time where things are really restructuring. It's a young country, such a young country, and I think there's this voice, there's a forum, right, that has been established in the US, specifically from the technology perspective and specifically from the entertainment perspective and just the capitalist modeling, But I think if this country starts, and I mean, it's just a thought, but if this country starts to humble themselves and down and think and learn from the ancient civilizations, then they have the ability to build like the Atlantis the right way, in a way, like to build a new civilization truly. That already there's been an iteration of that, so it's going to be like the next iteration of that. And I'm really curious what can come and sprout from this country, specifically from that land and from the people who are very sharp, very fast in navigating things, compared to in Russia, people are very sharp and smart as well, and at the same time we are much more, like contemplative, like philosophical, not quite action oriented, kind of tired from working too hard during the Soviet Union, basically being like the slaves to the system. So now we're trying to like just chill and rest and like bathe in the consumerism. But in the US, I think there is like a pockets of opportunities I'm feeling that specifically have to do with like what I'm seeing is just by articles that I'm reading about DAOs specifically. People are very action driven, open to share their data, share their knowledge. This is beautiful. In Russia, specifically, in my culture, people are not really sharing things. Even though yes, there's a like great system thinking, ability to like organize things. There are a huge amount of Telegram channels with like the new media, basically Telegram being like a place for news now these days. So there is still a lot of shared data, but it's most of it. It's very like, still like copied from some international places, not quite like, you know, deeper knowledge collected from our culture. So like a lot is still coming from the U.S. in terms of again it being a forum, a thought leadership place. Um, yeah, not sure why I'm sharing this with you. Hmm.
Well, people like me are more into bioarchitecture and things like that.
Yes.
I don't know too much about the channeling world, and I realized there was an ancient past, and I also realized a lot of that information is lost. And I wish that the people who are channeling could somehow speak with scientists and allow tangible, real things to happen. One of the architects I was with earlier, he was like he spent time with a bioarchitect, and now he started to make his own bricks out of the
Cool.
clay. And I was like, that's so beautiful. It's so simple. It's so realistic. My brother's been showing me a lot of videos lately of citizen journalists, people who are into ancient culture, go in, um, go against the narrative that's being taught at universities and schools about history, and
Mm-hmm.
clearly showing you that, hey, look, these are the bricks from thousands of years ago, and they're like jammed together like glue, and they're really weird. It's so oblong shaped, and I don't know how they did it. It was like a
Right.
puzzle, like puzzly pieces. And then they
Yes.
what the local people did like 1,000 years later, and they look terrible-ish. They're not
Right.
bad, but they don't have the same skills as the people who first turned up. We've been going to the British Museum, where the British went and stole stuff from all around the world and put it in a museum. And so we went to see the ancient artifacts, the Egyptian artifacts, and again, like we were highlighting how with these ancient artifacts, the oldest of inscriptions and inscribings and things were very high tech. They were
Yeah.
crystal clear, super sharp. But then you see the more modern engravings of some silly king's name or something,
Right.
and it's written like a little kid did it compared to
Scribble.
the original stuff. So you can tell that these are multiple cultures from
Yeah.
different times
Yeah.
coming together and trying to take ownership as if, hey, we were the Egyptians and this was the king for this, but it wasn't. These guys moved into a home and architecture that was already there
Yeah.
and done by somebody ancient. And for some reason, we don't know how to do these things anymore, regardless of the amount of people that are trying to tap into that knowledge.
Right.
But yeah, like if people could bring real knowledge back, that would be freaking
That's
great.
cool.
But in the
Yeah.
meantime, if we can, yeah, just start doing what we can.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of energy goes into conversations and very little of it goes into creation.
Actual doing. Yeah. 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 That's why I'm grateful to you coming from like a perspective of building things. Yeah, this is like the base of it all. And I believe in tapping into the ancient technologies that we've forgotten and channeling this information, these skills. But it will take a lot of people's consciousness to really increase in order to for us to get there. With the telepathy, with ability to levitate and lift things, and like cut things through certain energies. Like so, it's really a lot about working with energy. You know what I mean? Like
Kind of.
manipulating.
I don't know when that's going to be tangible, but in the meantime, like the physical world is being created all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
exactly.
how can we tap in? Because like otherwise we're constantly waiting and trying to achieve something that might
Mm.
not get done even in our
Mm-hmm.
lifetime, you know?
Hmm. Right, that's true. Yeah. So is it, what's your update right now? What are you working on? Are you still doing something in technology as well, or you're
I
currently
am.
like on the
Well,
ground?
luckily, I have failed startups and projects under me to realize what I need to do and how to actually achieve things. I've like it's hard. I've been a part of a DAO for many years, and I thought it was going places, and then things slowed down so
But it's
much.
not the holo chain, right? Or it's the seeds.
No, that was with seeds. Yeah, maybe it's still going somewhere, but God knows. Like, I don't know. Things get too hippie sometimes, and I don't always trust spiritual people. Spiritual people try their best,
Yeah.
but like, it's not like there's something not frazzling, you know? It's like maybe the goal is too pure. Maybe it's too something
Mm.
far fetched, and we need to start from where we are right now.
Mm.
It's like, in real life, you can't teleport to the North Pole right now, but guess what? You can take many little steps and get there from where we are right now. And I